Well, hello, thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video, and thanks for playing World of Tanks. I'm here in the Tier 8 Italian Premium Medium, the Ariete Progetto, I believe is the name. Auto reloader, of course. I like it, it's a fun medium to play, a fun premium. It's pretty mobile. It's got almost no armor, effectively. Okay for scouting and stuff like that. And you see here we got the capture point. It's a mutual capture point at E9, and we have about half of our team out in the field just kind of floating around. And fortunately we have some heavies moving into the basically the relevant area, relevant part of the map. The part of the map that basically the part of the map where either the enemy can capture out on you, or you might have an opportunity to capture out on the enemy if you need to. Yeah, so the part of the map where the fight's really taking place. And this light tank's running around back here. Fortunately, we have some heavies and a medium way down about the K line, so they're doing good. Seem to be in position, and looks like that light tank had to turn back. He did not get an easy access to our artillery, as sometimes light tanks will try to do using that zero line on this map. And we get rid of that light tank. I get some spot assist damage. And using the mini map, we see that we do have that medium out there at G1, the Centurion 7-1. I believe that's top tier in this match, tier 9. I'm wishing that the top tier medium tank would come into the buildings area and help our team fight. This Conqueror's pushing pretty good, so I'm thinking, well, I will take a shot, get the ammo rack. Trying to get the ammo rack again. I think I'm just a little bit too high, maybe a little bit too far to the left with those follow-up shots. And then it's time for me to reload. Fortunately, that French tank destroyer nearby finishes off that enemy heavy. And now I'm thinking, well, heck, I might as well get a shot on this Challenger. So trying to get in position to do that, and there's just some covers, a wall or whatever that is, kind of in my way. You notice we have a line in the city area kind of running along the F row. Other than that medium and that heavy that have kind of pushed forward along the 9 line a little bit, we do have kind of a row, a line of tanks. I think that's pretty sound. This Type 4 heavy is an example, and also that Conqueror, that I think it was that Conqueror anyway, that British heavy that we already destroyed. I shot the ammo rack of, but this Type 4 and that British heavy are kind of examples of what happens when you push too far forward rather than just kind of forming up if you will, a row or a line or a defensive perimeter, if you will. And here I'm gonna, I don't know, use the opportunity, since that Type 4 heavy just about got a nasty shot in me. I got out of there, of course, but I decided to come out here and try to take a shot. And I don't have the round velocity to make that shot really all that effective unless those enemy vehicles are just kind of sitting still and letting me shoot them. That's pretty rare in the top tiers, although it does happen. Anyway, finally I realized that it's best for me to go back in and help my allies fight off these heavies. Would have been nice if I'd already been here getting in some shots on this heavy, or maybe another heavy or whatever, but anyway, I make it in eventually. Start doing my best here. I'm really afraid that this Object 257 is coming at me. Lightly armored medium that I am. It doesn't look like I was really his priority or his target there. Takes out one of my allies, that Conqueror, unfortunately, so I'm rushing in with a fully loaded magazine. Getting a nice shot on the rear. And the Soviet side armor is something else. I don't know whether that was a track or what. I don't think my shot was high enough to have hit that angled, spaced side armor. I think that track stopped up that middle round. Anyway, using my mobility, thinking about getting behind that guy while I reload. my autoloader and the enemy, or rather the ally destroyers, finally get rid of them. And so at this point, we've got the medium up at the A7, those two heavies, C and D6, and the two destroyers in the middle of town, and then me driving through town. So we've basically solidified the city area, the town or village area. There's two destroyers we can see right there, enemy destroyers around B4, and then those two platooned up Centurion 7-1s were out roving around in the field, eliminating our guys out there. So not only do we have numbers at this point on the enemy team, we also have relevant positioning. They took out one of our destroyers, so now our numbers aren't quite as profound an advantage. Nevertheless, again, oh, there goes our medium. He's tired of the game, I guess, tired of the match, maybe. Oh, there goes another one of our tanks. But there goes one of their destroyers. And you can see the Centurion 7-1 has rushed the gate position. Looks like he got a shot in on one of our heavies there. I tried to get a shot in. He ducked into cover. And so while I was spotted up, I was shifting position, and now that I'm unspotted, I'm gonna curl back around. Someone, maybe they're just trying to remind us that they had that medium out in the one column. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they were hoping that we would run out there and fight. I insist that we need to basically stick where we're at. We've got a pretty decent fortified position with these buildings, this cover and that kind of thing. Really, again, the relevant point, the point that can make or break this match for either team, is at E9. And we see an ally heavy rolling in there. I say that's a pretty good idea. I like that spot. And oh, look at that, a medium right there. Go ahead and get a shot in the side of the turret that goes through. You see, he was trying to get a shot on me. Those guys are obviously pretty good players in their Centurion 7-1s. At this point, I'm kind of anticipating that he's going to go south, kind of fall back and go around south, and then come at me kind of, you know, through this grassy field area from the southern point. And so I'm, rather than kind of going into the buildings, giving him an opportunity to kind of lock me down and fight me at close quarters, I'm trying to kind of outflank him, or at least spot him up as he outflanks me. And turns out he switched things up on me and went into the middle, went after this this conqueror with few hit points here, trying to get rid of him. And also that, you know, he has this ally basically straight behind him, as we've seen out at like E1, and so they're basically trying to get rid of this heavy in the middle. I didn't really have a good opportunity to get in and help him fight, but you know what? His hit points actually are not my responsibility. There's a nice shot. He's rushing into town, hoping that I wasn't nearby. Fortunately for me, I am nearby. Get a nice shot. At this point, I don't notice that enemy medium is right behind me. At least I don't really expect him to have much of a shot on me. Well, it turns out he does. If I had been more heads up on that, I would have turned left earlier into the town behind cover. Instead, I was focused. I was very intent on that enemy I was shooting up. At this point, that enemy is coming. The remaining enemy is coming into town, and it's up to me in this tier 8 heavy. Full health. Looks like he's duking it out with the Centurion. Centurion's focused on my ally. I take a shot, slow down his ammo rack unless he uses a repair kit of some kind. I hear it's tough to know what to do. He obviously directed his gun toward me, so if I had stayed in that area, he might have been shooting at me. 2 shots of his gun probably would have eliminated me. Certainly a third, but anyway, maybe even just 2. Now my ally pushes forward. I don't know. I kind of wish that he had somehow stayed back or used cover. Basically forced the enemy's hand, forced the enemy to do what he didn't want to do. Anyway, he still got the enemy out in the open, got in a good penetration or so there, and set me up for the final shot. That worked out for us. So I think this was a fun match to watch. Fun example of how it can be important and helpful to, in particular on the encounter in this Siegfried Line map, how it can be helpful to control that town area. But actually on the Siegfried Line, I think that it's pretty much always important to take the town area. Those buildings provide a nice kind of fortification cover system, cover scenario you can use, and even if the enemy vehicles end up taking control of that field out there, that leaves them more or less out in the open to the extent that it becomes a shooting match, from the city and from the field. Your team, if you control the town area, your team has a lot of cover to work with, and that field provides very little cover, especially if you're trying to get shots on the vehicles in the town. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for taking a look at this World of Tanks video. Thanks for playing World of Tanks.